in the far reaches of northwestern Russia, where the Cola Peninsula's icy wilderness stretches untouched by time, lies an unassuming hole, one that harbors secrets not meant for human ears. And it's not just whispers of the void we're talking about. It's what soldiers claim to have seen crawling out of it. What horrors lurk beneath the frostbitten surface. This isn't your ordinary urban tale. Welcome to the Nightside Archive. Tonight's story is chillingly named The Buried Horror of Cola Peninsula. In the 1970s, Soviet scientists embarked on one of the most ambitious projects of their time, the Cola Superdeep Borehole. Originally intended to study the Earth's crust, this man-made abyss pierced deeper than any human-handled drill before it. On paper, the project was purely scientific. But rumors have always clung to the borehole. Whispers of strange vibrations, inexplicable temperatures, and, worst of all, noises. Human-like screams recorded from the depths began to surface. Decades of mystery culminated in stories that spilled out from military outposts stationed nearby. Let's backtrack to one frosty night during a late Soviet winter in 1984. A military convoy was making its way past the outer zones of the drill site. The documents in hand dictated a straightforward protection detail. Nearby NATO operations had heightened paranoia, leaving an unusually high number of boots in the freezing mud. Soldiers claimed to have noticed an unsettling change in the atmosphere as they passed. Temperatures dropped, yes, but this cold was different, more invasive, as though the air itself was alive. And then there was the sound. At first it was faint, like distant howling. But as the convoy got closer, a pattern emerged. A sequence of rhythmic wailing, almost like chanting. Private Yuri Belarov, one of the youngest stationed men, would later go on record to tell his side of the story. "It got inside your head," Yuri described. "The wailing, it didn't just touch your ears. You felt it underneath your skin, scratching. My comrade Ivan, he started muttering prayers, something he hadn't done since we were children. None of us spoke out loud about what we all felt. There was no need. We all knew we weren't alone." At precisely 02:17 a.m., the convoy came to an abrupt halt. Akimov, the ranking officer, spotted a moving figure through his binoculars near one of the supposed entrances to the borehole. Flashlights flicked through the night air, but all they revealed was swirling snow. Still, the group dismounted, weapons in hand. The soldiers encircled the presumed area of disturbance, but as they drew closer, another sound joined the faint chanting, a clicking, subtle but deliberate, reminiscent of insects gnawing on wood. One of the men, Rafikov, explained to Yuri that it might be ice cracking, but in hindsight, Yuri knew better. Ice doesn't move upwards into the air, he recalled years later, still haunted by the sight. A strange fog suddenly rose, despite the biting cold, limiting their visibility to mere feet. Ivan muttered nervously, his prayer growing louder. That's when the figure returned, or rather, emerged. Yuri described it as something grotesquely humanoid, but imperfectly designed, as if nature had attempted and failed to draw a person. Its joints moved too fluidly, its face disturbingly blank, like unfinished pottery with touches of symmetry. Worst of all, it didn't walk. It skittered. The creature circled the soldiers, staying just beyond where their flashlights could fully illuminate it. Then, for the first time, a bone-chilling scream cut through the air. It wasn't human. It could never have been human, but it sounded as if it wanted to be. Yuri swore years later that the scream called his name. Others reported hearing the voice of loved ones, deceased or distant. It crawled inside our minds, Yuri had said, borrowing voices we thought were ours, then twisting them into something cruel. Acting against protocol, several soldiers opened fire. The bullets ricocheted off the rocks or disappeared into the fog. The creature disappeared with each flash of their weapons like it dissolved into the shadows themselves. That was, until Akimov, a seasoned officer with nerves of steel, suddenly went rigid. He screamed louder than anyone. For a moment his shadow seemed to melt, mismatched with his body, before he collapsed entirely. Around him, the snow bore scorch marks as if heated by impossible energy. The acting ranks sounded the retreat. Radios were scrambled, commands shouted. Where once there were 20 men marching together under order, now they were sprinting, scattered like prey from predators. Yuri remembered the fog moving with them, as though shepherding them somewhere worse. Reaching safety near a checkpoint, the group regrouped, but they were missing 5 men, Akimov included. Yuri would never forget the look in Ivan's eyes, wide and haunted, as he whispered, "They won't come back. It has them now. These aren't our forests any longer." Official reports only stated that 1 officer went missing, and another 4 soldiers succumbed to a fatal exposure while on duty. But whispers within the ranks painted a more sinister picture. Locals near the Cola Peninsula have their own explanations. Some believe the borehole accidentally unearthed malevolent spirits that once lay dormant, trapped under centuries of ice and rock. Others attribute the horrors to cryptids native to the Siberian tundra. Yet, chillingly, one folklore researcher suggests the creature resembles the myth of the Russians' Kut, often portrayed as a cosmic trickster, but, when angered, becomes a harbinger of doom. A special unit was rumored to secure the Kola site when the original mission ended abruptly in the 90s. Even today, satellite imagery shows restricted military presence within regions tied to the borehole. What's guarding it now? Or who? No one dares venture close enough to find out. Could this all be exaggerated stories by spooked soldiers, or does something truly dwell deep within the earth there? All that's certain, and this is, according to Yuri himself, is that what they encountered wasn't human. And it never wanted us there, he concludes, shaking his head. His voice trembled as though trapped in another winter night, one still alive under his skin. The Cola Peninsula holds on to its secrets, but those who've heard its haunted wails haven't forgotten. What do you think really lies beneath our feet?